How are you, Jamie?
Yes, good. Thank you very much. I'm well on the road to recovery.
Good. Excellent. That's good. So
How are you?
no more Mr. On noises this week.
No.
Oh, what a shame.
As popular as that was.
It was just about the most popular thing we've ever done on these podcasts.
I should get sick more.
It's just a bit sad, really, isn't it? When you consider how much effort we put into them.
I know. Oh, well.
I say effort.
Yeah. Are you in pyjamas still?
Oh, well, it's my day off, isn't it? See,
Yes.
Normally, you've got to remember, normally at this time, I would be, just about putting my costume on and my makeup on, ready to go on stage at 10:30.
Ready to go out, leave the house. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, that's right. Go to the shops, pick up some milk. So, my days off, I just like to, slum around a bit.
Slum around and record a podcast.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, shall we just do that then?
Well, shall we? It must be like Pod 21 or something by now, mustn't it?
It's definitely the one after Pod 20, so should we call it Pod 21?
Let's do that, just for the sake of clarity.
Here we go.
This is Shane Rimmer, and you are listening to the Gerry Anderson podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
The Gerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson and Richard James.
God, 21 weeks. God, it would have been 6 months soon.
I know, that's bonkers, isn't it?
Crazy.
That's
Anyway.
mad. Yeah. So here we are, Pod 21.
Welcome.
Yeah. It's our 21st birthday. Last week was the 20th anniversary. This
It's
is our
not
21st.
anniversary or birthdays,
Oh.
It's weeks.
All right, 21
It
weeks.
may feel like years, Richard, but it is just a matter of weeks.
Yeah, here we are. Welcome to the Gerry Anderson Podcast, Pod 21. I'm Richard James.
And I am Jamie Anderson.
And you sound in much better voice this week, Jamie.
Thank you. I'm still about 12% under the weather, but
That's very specific.
it's much better. I still feel like I'm a little bit low in the register.
Yeah.
And occasionally sort of slip into...
Yeah.
But no, much
That's very
better.
good.
And thank you for everyone for all of your tweets and emails and well wishes.
Yes.
They
It's
may
nice,
not
isn't
have
it?
helped, but they made me feel better at the time. Thanks.
So we've got all the usual stuff. I mean, of course.
Richard, you say we've got all the usual stuff every week.
I know.
Well, it's true.
We have kind of settled into a bit of a pattern, haven't we? But, we do
Are
have...
you saying it's gone stale?
No, because of course we have added Firestorm, don't we? Now, when we spoke to you last, the premiere at MCM Comic Con had happened.
Only just, though.
But only just. And so really this week is our week to really catch up on that fantastic day in London when we saw the premiere of the Minnesota Firestorm and get all the latest news from Jamie, which we absolutely will do in due course. We also have other news from the Gerry Anderson universe, and we have your emails, of course, which people have been sending in, in their droves to podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk. In fact, I saw a drove pass by earlier with a load of emails. There it goes, you see. Really have been arriving in their droves. And of course, we've got Chris Dale and his amazing randomizer. And I say amazing because I know it is, for a lot of people, the most popular part of the podcast.
Yeah. Do you know what happened at MCM Comic Con?
Well, he was swamped,
Richard?
I should imagine, wasn't he?
Well, do you know, so many people mentioned the podcast, which is
Yeah.
obviously brilliant.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
But also, Chris Dale was there, reporting live from the event.
Great.
And people kept saying, "Oh, I love the podcast. The Randomizer is great." And I was like, "Oh, well, Chris is just there. Does the
Yes.
Randomizer." And Chris was literally mobbed
Brilliant.
by multiple fans.
That's fantastic.
So it was really, really nice to see. And
Excellent.
yes, credit where credit's due. Well
Yeah,
done, Chris.
yeah.
Keep up the amazing work. But let's hope for no more Torture Your Joe 90
Oh,
for a
please.
while. Please give us a
for
break.
all our sakes. Absolutely, yeah, that's right. So in the meantime, yes, please do get in touch, podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk, and whatever platform you're listening to us on, of course, don't forget to rate us, review us, share us, and more importantly, subscribe so that you don't miss a single podcast. And tell all your friends about us, because, I have a feeling that in the next few months and couple of years, they might really want to be keeping their ear to the ground with regards to Gerry Anderson's stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm
I think
sure they'd appreciate it if you let them know that we are here doing this thing every week.
They'd love coming in on the ground floor, wouldn't they? Isn't that what people say when you're in at the start of something?
Well, I don't know. That's corporate speak, isn't it? That's not really a world I move in. You know, let's.
Richard,
yeah?
that is a fib. You do move in that world once in a while, don't you? Tell the listeners what you've been up to with your moonlighting.
Ah, yes. Well, very occasionally I do dip in. I dip a toe into the corporate world, basically to tell people to speak up and slow down when they talk. So, presentation stuff, that's the actor's bread and butter. So in between treading the boards, I also, tell people to be a bit more interesting when they speak. When they're pitching products and, financial services and so on. Oh, I mean,
exciting.
my life, really. It's a social whirl, isn't it?
It's either corporate gigs or cross-dressing on stage currently, or podcasting in your dressing gown.
That's right.
And that is the sort of the magic trio of things that everybody aspires to do in their lives.
Isn't it? Who wouldn't want a life like that?
Anyway, Richard.
Living the dream.
Yeah, now we've had an insight into your dreamy life.
Yes.
Shall we hear some exciting news?
I think we really should, shouldn't we?
Here we go then.
Come on, then.
Hi, Gordon Tracy speaking. It's time for the Gerry Anderson news.
Richard, you had a challenge this week on the news, didn't you?
Did I?
Do you remember? Somebody, I think they emailed in, or maybe they
Is this the tweet? Is this the tweet? Yeah.
to say
Okay.
your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to do your Newsy News song
Yes.
to the UFO theme.
No, but very specifically the closing theme to UFO.
Oh, the closing! I didn't even see that. Oh,
That's
well,
right.
that's.
I know.
Go on then.
I know. This is from Jay, who got in touch on Twitter. Richard N. James, or I am Jamie Anderson. He said, your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to Newsy News, the closing theme to UFO. Now, because, basically the closing theme to UFO is kind of this discordant sort of rising, screechy hum. So it'd be a bit like this, wouldn't it?
That was me doing that.
You'll have to join in, Jamie. We'll have a bit of discordant disharmony, perhaps.
Okay, I'll
All
try.
right, ready? It'd be a bit like that, wouldn't it? Of course, if you haven't heard a single podcast before, you'll be wondering
what's going
on. But thank you, Jay, and challenge accepted. I mean, chuck a couple of quid to children in need or something if you thought we did well enough there.
Yeah, come on, we've just embarrassed ourselves enormously. So,
So, Jamie, tell us, what's been in the news?
stop the podcast.
Why? What's happened?
Richard,
What?
what has happened? Tell the
Oh,
nice listeners
no.
at home what's happened for the second time.
Oh, I
Go
made
on.
a boo-boo. I made it. Well, you see, I don't really understand modern technology. And I didn't realise that the little SD card in my little recording device that I use for this podcast would gradually fill up over time. Didn't think about that at all. Even though I have to say, I have been erasing the files every week.
Clearly not
But
officially
still,
enough.
somehow, the SD card still said it was full. So we got to the end of this podcast, didn't we, Jamie? Did about 40 minutes or so.
Oh, we did.
And then I looked at my recording device and my face fell, didn't it?
It really did.
Because I realised I'd only recorded the first 10 minutes.
Wait, so the first 10 minutes of this that you've heard before the Stop the Podcast are authentic first time. The rest of it is...
Has been rehearsed, shall we say.
Yeah, we've had a rehearsal session. Yeah, perfect. We did a read.
So there's no excuse now, is there?
Oh, plenty of excuses. Anyway, look, Richard, on that note, should we get on with the news which you
let's get some
introduced before we
news.
stop the podcast?
I think we should have some news.
Good. Well, here is the news.
I mean,
the
there's only
minisode-
one bit of news, really.
No, there's several bits.
Come on, the big news is...
The big news is that the minisode of Gerry Anderson's Firestorm is out, as you all know, and it continues to rack up views, tens of thousands of views, and lots of lovely comments. If you've not watched it yet, then why not? What's wrong with you? Get on with it. Go and watch
absolutely.
it now. If you want to watch it, firestormhq.com or firestormhq on Facebook are the best places to go, but also you might as well get on the Firestorm social media elsewhere. Firestorm HQ on Instagram, SF9 Firestorm on Twitter.
Yeah.
So we've got some stuff coming up later about Firestorm, so that's all lovely, isn't it, Richard?
Yes. Well, it is lovely, and there were lots and lots of lovely tweets. I'm sure you got hundreds of messages, Jamie, but certainly on Twitter I saw lots of messages on the day, on Saturday, as the premiere happened. It was amazing.
Yeah,
created quite a buzz, I think.
It did, and they continue to roll in. It's lovely. I
Yes.
got back to about 1,200 emails in my inbox and over 1,000 combined comments
Wow.
on YouTube and Facebook. I've got through a few of them. They're all lovely, and we're very grateful indeed. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Now, this wouldn't have been possible without our Kickstarter backers, and if you are a Kickstarter backer, you should know by now that your rewards are en route.
Lovely.
It's taken a little while. There are a few specialist items which will take a little bit longer. 3D printed ocean storms and some niche
really?
little T-shirts and various other bits and pieces. But the majority of the core items are on their way now. And
Nice. Yes.
some rather good news, Richard.
Right, and
We
that
are
is...
officially in pre-production for Series 1 of Firestorm, 26 half-hour episodes, and production commencing late
What?
spring 2019.
Really?
Yes!
This is a thing?
So it's happening. So go on, say your phrase.
Amazing.
What's happening?
I can actually say there is new Gerry Anderson stuff being made right now.
And that's
Isn't that
official.
incredible? And I've been telling you that for weeks. No one believed me.
No,
Now.
you were right.
proof.
You saw the future.
Yeah. There it is. That's right.
So there you
oh,
go.
that's amazing news. So well done, everybody. That's fantastic. And what a memorable day that must have been, Jamie, for you on Saturday.
Absolutely. Well, of course, I got that news sort of officially before it was signed in David Quantick's podcast, which is why I was drinking Prosecco. Anyway,
that'll be it.
there you go. A little bit of continuity there.
Great.
We don't just want Firestorm news. We want other news too. So
Yeah.
if you want to add to your Gerry Anderson merchandise collection of T-shirts and caps and badges and DVDs and Blu-rays and that good stuff, then Captain Black Friday is coming. I wish I still had the voice, actually.
Captain Black Friday, yes.
Black Friday. I can't do it now.
That's pretty good.
Is coming in the next couple of weeks, so there'll be some rather spiffing deals there. Mm-hmm. And since we'll be looking to the future, we should also look back to the past. The team behind Thunderbirds 1965 have put together a wonderful documentary about the Slough Studios and their sad demise last year. They've now been knocked down.
Yes.
You can watch it on Vimeo. It's at vimeo.com/on-demand/Century21 Slough. That's SLOUGH for our American and other non-English speakers who don't understand that we spell these things stupidly.
We do.
I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but I've been told by fans who have seen it that it is fantastic. Or
bet.
FAB.
Of course. Yeah.
So
Great.
do go and watch that. Now, that's all the news I had, but I can see you poised and wanting to say more news, Richard. Go on, what have you got?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's November, isn't it? It's November, and we all know what's happening in November. Well, Space Precinct is out on DVD.
Oh, I thought you were going to go for fireworks night, but...
No, Space Precinct's out on DVD and the soundtrack on CD this month. Do we have a date for that in November?
End of November.
End
I know
of,
that's not
right,
a date
so-
as such, but that's the
Yeah.
date. End of November.
Yeah. So keep everything peeled and look out for that. First time that Space Precinct's been available as a box set, I think, forever, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that'll be worth a look.
And certainly the first time the soundtrack's ever been available. So double whammy of Space Precinct goodness. SPA.
Yeah. Brilliant music there from Crispin Merrill. Look forward to hearing that. And also, as it is November the 5th, of course, if you're listening to this on the Monday, when this podcast is released, well, this evening at 7 o'clock, you can join us for Fab Live. That's Jamie and I on Fab Live, and that's over on the Gerry Anderson Facebook page. It's a Facebook Live broadcast where we just have fun and games, really. You can join in and comment as we go. And you can send anything that you want discussed on the show to fablive@gerryanderson.co.uk. We love to see your pictures, and we can show your pictures of your cosplay, of your models and vehicles, of your Gerry Anderson
dogs
toys.
named after Anderson characters, your
Fish
vegetables
named after me and
shaped
Jamie.
like- Yes, vegetables shaped by Thunderbird 2.
That's right.
Yeah, we'd love
We
to
love
do
all
that.
that. Yeah, exactly. And also, of course, on November the 5th, it's a busy old day, isn't it? We'll be at the King's Arms in Cookham for a spot of lunch, and to unveil the plaque, I think is the correct pronunciation. I've been corrected.
Yes.
To the whole Parker, voicey, wine listy thing that we spoke about last time.
And that doesn't need to be gone through all over again, does it?
No.
So,
But we hope to have maybe a little video package about that on Fab Live. On
Yeah,
the, on
and we
the
hope to
evening.
record the podcast there next week, don't we?
Yes, we do indeed. Yeah, we'll be doing
we're
some
gonna try and
podcast
do.
stuff if we can. That's right. At least get a few interviews, I would think. So there'll be a few people there. David Graham is going to be there, of course, the voice of Parker. Yeah, it's interesting. Also, you mentioned the whole Thunderbirds 1965 thing. That's the fantastic thing about the Gerry Anderson world, isn't it? We're now in a situation where we've got this huge back catalogue of brilliant stuff that we can still enjoy and pore over, but we're also poised to see new Gerry Anderson adventures. That's an extraordinary position to be in, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Yeah, wonderful. Very good.
That is the end of the news, isn't it now?
Well, what about some articles on the Gerry Anderson website, including our top 5 Anderson scientists and boffins, as well as Auntie Zelda's Guide to Mars?
They're from last week, Richard, and I put them in the script by mistake, so let's not do those, shall we?
Then that's about it. However, I do have some tweets. Now, people have been getting in touch with us on Twitter to talk about Firestorm, so I'd love to just...
Tweety tweets?
Yes.
Tweets.
Indeed. So, Robert got in touch on Twitter, Richard N. James, or at I'm Jamie Anderson. I want a series, says Robert, from the puppets to the music. It wouldn't have been a Gerry Anderson production without the over-top explosions, which it had too. It was honestly like welcoming back an old friend. Megan said it was well and truly worth the wait, and here's hoping it will go to a full series soon. Well, Megan, you're in luck.
It is, Megan.
Yeah. Joe Hollis says it's amazing. Robert Monk said, I cried as it ended. The excitement of a new Gerry Anderson show and the feelings and memories from my misspent youth. And Craig Edmonds said that he just watched this Firestorm minisode. He was so excited for the future of puppetry and CGI. At points it was hard to tell which was which. It's funny though, it's almost as if there's new Gerry Anderson stuff happening right now.
Oh, there's that catchphrase, Richard.
Here it is. Yeah, it's almost like that, isn't it, Craig? So yes, lots of lovely stuff on Firestorm all over Twitter over the last few days.
Bless you.
Fantastic.
Thanks,
yeah,
everyone.
Brilliant.
Thanks for the lovely tweets.
Yeah. So, well, you're listening to the Gerry Anderson podcast. We're about to do some emails. You can get in touch with us at podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk. We love to hear all your comments and questions and so on. And, of course, don't forget to rate us, review us, share us and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on.
Plus screenshots, selfies, and you singing along to the Firestorm theme tune because it's so blooming hummable.
It is amazing, absolutely.
Now, Richard,
Right.
shall I get the email in bag?
Yes, let's have a look at the in-bag. What have you got this week?
Here it is. Hang on.
Oh, it's a proper bag. That's nice.
Yeah, it's a real bag.
Great.
Here is the first email for you.
Oh, let's have that nice glittery one there. That looks lovely.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah, yes, this is from Big Al, from Alex Pass. Subject, Thunder Scarlet Stinghawks, which just about encapsulates everything. He said he loved the Firestorm minisode, everything I wanted to see in a 21st century Anderson production. I've just been off on my weekly shop, and the theme tune was going round in my head as I sped down the aisles, driving my trolley storm on its latest mission to recover the elusive last pint of semi-skimmed milk. Here's to more missions ASAP. All the best from Big Al. Fantastic. Now, there's a sight I'd like to have seen.
Well, maybe you can get invited to his local supermarket to see a round of trolley storming.
Yeah, and if you find yourself humming or singing along to the Firestorm theme tune in a public place, do let us know.
Yes, we'd love to hear it, and you actually humming it, so do that,
Yeah,
please.
and I have noticed something, actually, that the Firestorm theme tune is a fantastic candidate for singing along with the old news.
Is it?
Yeah. In fact, I tell you what, it's a special treat. I might forward you a little something, Jamie, for you to put at the end of this podcast.
Oh. Great,
that?
what a treat!
I say treat.
Yeah, you mean more sort of punishment, really, don't you? Anyway, moving swiftly on before you get too many more ideas, I'm just going to be delving back into the bag. There's one. Right, mine's from Andy Morris.
Oh, hello, Andy.
Andy says, hello both.
Hi, Andy.
He said, yes, I'm avoiding the who's name first problem.
Very wise.
Very sensible.
Yeah.
As requested, a podcast selfie, which was attached. I was in the middle of a nightmare that is fitting a baby changing unit to a 100-ish-year-old theatre and failing.
Wow.
And there he is with a hammer, which I'm not sure is the right tool for the job, Andy, but you probably know better than me.
I hope there's a responsible adult around if you're using a hammer like that.
Anyway, the baby changing table is at a very jaunty angle, so...
Right.
Yeah, if your child has fallen off a baby changing table at a theatre, then you can probably blame Andy. No, don't. I'm joking. He says, I picked up your podcast when I saw the Chris Packham one advertised on Facebook and listened to the previous episodes back to back whilst carrying out a weldathon on my Citroen 2CV Thunderbird R for Rust. In preparation for an 1,800-mile jaunt around France earlier this month.
Wow.
Did you make it back, Andy?
Yeah,
emailing
I
us
hope you
from a lay-by in Chamonix or something? I don't know. Anyway, he says, I digress.
Well, you do, yes.
Which I did as well. The podcast is superb with the perfect ratio of humour to facts. Keep it up. Many thanks, Andy Morris.
Ah. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Richard,
Yes.
did you know brand new Gerry Anderson stuff is being produced right now.
I
he
had
says.
no idea, but I had a bit of an inkling, I have to say.
Yes, we may
a
have
little
covered
bird
it a
might
bit
have
in
told
this
me
one.
that. You're right, Andy. Isn't that exciting? It's interesting. He says that the perfect ratio of humour to facts. I wonder what that ratio would be. That'd be like a magic number, wouldn't it, if we could find that?
Oh, well, it may be 1-to-1 in the humour to facts ratio, but he's forgetting the other 10 parts of tangential nonsense and pointless banter. So, yes, 10 to 1-to-1. I'm glad
great.
you're happy with that.
Now, can I have that one there in the sort of perfumed envelope
on.
that I can see? I can smell it already. Oh, that's
It's
lovely.
got a little lipsticky kiss on it for you.
Yeah, it
Richard.
has.
Hang on.
Well,
There you
oh,
go.
I see. That explains it. It's from Chris Burnham. Okay, this is from Chris. Yeah, Chris says, hello. I've turned my 2-year-old son into a big Thunderbirds fan. Well, good for you, Chris. We've watched through the original series and are halfway through Thunderbirds Are Go Season 2. He loves the old Frank Bellamy comics so much that he sleeps with a hardcover collection in his bed every night.
That's very cute, but not very cosy. Those sharp edges. I'd rather have a teddy, I think. Anyway.
He's always making rocket ships and airplanes out of his Duplos and is constantly shouting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off at the top of his lungs. And for his 3rd birthday in a few weeks, I've gotten him a Thunderbird 3 shirt, a Thunderbird 2 toy, and the Menace from Space comic collection from a few years
Hang
ago.
on, this child sounds terribly spoiled.
Isn't he? We can't have that. He says, I can't wait to see his face light up when he rips these presents open. So cheers to you and your dad, Jamie, for giving me something to bond with my son over. Well, that's
Brilliant.
lovely. Anyhow, that's enough heartwarming, he says. On with the geekery. Hooray. The Captain Scarlet Wikipedia page has a glancing mention of a manga adaptation, but other than finding a few volumes on eBay that are outside of my price range, I've been unable to find any information about them. Can you speak a bit about the manga adaptations or direct me to somewhere? Thanks so much. From Chris Burnham. Well, what do we know about that?
Well, Chris, you'll be pleased to know that in the intervening period between when we first recorded this podcast and
having
now
to
on the
record it
second
again.
attempt,
Yeah.
we found a little bit of information for you, but it's not that much, and it seems to be very hard to come by. So I asked our resident expert, Chris Dale of Randomizer fame, if he had any ideas, and he pointed me towards a thread of tweets from Fred McNamara. That's
Yes.
Capitan Mac. CAPITAN_MAC, Capitan Mac, on Twitter, who found a copy of said manga comic. He basically says that it seems to be a kind of complete misunderstanding of the central concept, like somebody's seen one episode not in Japanese and therefore misunderstood. So it contains Captain Scarlet, an angel, which might be Destiny, a cigar-chomping Captain Blue, maybe, Colonel
Right.
White with a moustache, and what Fred presumes to be a heavily bearded Captain Black. The whole thing gets stranger and stranger. Seems like a massive misunderstanding of the central story. Captain Scarlet saves a dog from a tree or something.
Nice.
There's an amphibious SPV in it.
Oh.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's all printed in blue ink. It looks fantastic, but it is very, very odd. Lots of cigar smoking. Stuff gets blown up, and as far as they can tell, it was 8 volumes were produced between January and August 1968.
Well.
There we go. So it's a bit of an oddity,
Isn't it? And quite
learned
pricey on eBay by all accounts.
I would imagine so. Yeah. I mean, so that I now know more than I did before. But I think Fred's report is about as much as anybody really knows in the UK. If you know more about the Captain Scarlet mangas, do get in touch. podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk. We'd love to know more. But I hope that helps for now, Chris.
Yeah, brilliant.
Shall I get
well
the bag
done.
again?
Yeah, come on then. Let's see what else we got in there. We have to dig deep. Let's get that one there.
Okie doke.
Yeah, lovely.
Right, mine's from Liam.
Oh yes.
Hello, Jamie and Richard.
Hello, Liam.
This podcast is my favourite that I listen to, and I can't wait to see Firestorm. Well, hopefully you've seen it by now, Liam.
Yes.
It helps my night shift go very quickly, so thank you for your brilliance. Strong word, but
Well,
gratefully
underestimating,
accepted.
I think.
Really?
Brilliance is putting it mildly.
Oh, if you say so. I'm not so sure. I grew up watching Gerry Anderson shows. My favourites are Captain Scarlet and Space Precinct. Oh, that'll make Richard happy.
It will.
Richard,
Yes.
at the end of Pod 19, you said you were going to Guildford. Can I be nosy and ask if you have any connections in Guildford? I'm from Guildford, and if I'd known you were going to be in the town, I would have loved to meet you. So a bit more notice next time would be nice, please.
Oh, sorry.
Last thing, can I ask if any of Gerry Anderson shows will be available on iTunes anytime soon? Thanks for taking the time to read this from Liam. Richard, do you want to touch on your Guildford connection?
Oh yes,
first?
I was in Guildford. So I'm on tour at the moment. I'm sure many of you will know because I rattle on about it all the time. So I'm on a tour of David Walliams' Awful Auntie. We're going about the country every week. We're in a different town. I think we've got about another five venues left, I think, before we hit the Bloomsbury Theatre in London over Christmas. But if you want to know more, you can just visit birminghamstage.com and search for Awful Auntie. And I think we're in Birmingham, Plymouth, Norwich, Swindon and Swansea or something before we hit London. And then it's all over. So yeah, it'd be great to see as many of you as possible if you fancy a couple of hours watching a fun kids show. Bring your nephews, nieces, children, godchildren, grandchildren, whatever.
If you want to see
Richard
show. In drag, then
yes,
it's a good opportunity.
That's right. Who wouldn't want to see that? Who wouldn't want to pay good money to see that? So yes.
Yeah.
And anyway, and so the iTunes then, last thing.
Oh yes, I was going to get the e-bag, but I forgot. Yes, so we've asked ITV about this repeatedly. It's a territorial thing. Some territories, as in countries or states or whatever, have it and some don't. There's no real consistency, but we have asked them to put it out as many places as possible. And the last we heard from is that they are in discussions with multiple potential partners for various streaming and digital things. So that's where they are. If it's there, then great. I mean, if it was up to us, then everything would be everywhere in HD. Of course. It would be beautiful and amazing, but it's not up to us, sadly.
Yeah,
so there you go, Liam. Keep your eyes peeled. Richard, I've got one more, slightly lonely looking...
there
so
it is. Okay. Yes. Oh, so this is from Terry. Yeah, it says, hello, gentlemen. It's me again, Terry from here in Southern California. Oh,
Hi,
nice.
Terry.
Beautiful. First of all, thank you. I was thrilled to hear my email about Supercar being read aloud by Richard James during Pod 18. Well, you're welcome, Terry. Truly a surreal experience. Well, yes, many people say that. And I just had the biggest smile on my face. Now, he says, please find below the Firestorm review I wrote on Saturday morning and posted to Eagle Transporter Forum and in my blog on Thunderbird's Wiki. It may be too long to read on air, but that's okay. It's just my bit to help spread the word. Well, we're very appreciative of that, Terry. Yeah, he says, best regards, Terry. P.S. I was very sorry to hear during today's Pod 20 via YouTube that Jamie was feeling unwell. Please get better soon.
Oh, thanks, Terry. I have got better soon. Thank you.
Yes, you have, exactly. So just a few comments from his review. He says, Firestorm, visually it looks gorgeous. He says, technology galore, both old and new, and just about everywhere you look, and better look fast too. Yes, do look fast on firestormhq.com. Surely it must be a formidable task to fit so much into so short a time on screen. Going to series, and we surely want that, yes. I know it knows its heritage, he says, very definitely, yet it's speaking with its own unique voice. Here's hoping we will hear it again. Looking at you there, Team Firestorm. Very good. Yeah, well, thanks, Terry.
Cheers,
and you
Terry.
will be hearing from it again, as we now know.
You will.
Which is very, very exciting.
Right, Richard, the bag is empty.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the selected bag is empty. There's more emails, but we can't do them all. So
no, we can't. We've got just a couple of tweets I want to run through again. You can get in touch with us on Twitter. You can hashtag us Gerry Anderson Podcast. I'm Richard M. James, and I'm Jamie Anderson. Now, Keith Gooch got in touch. Do you remember you, Han Solo, asked last time, where have you seen other Anderson stuff outside of Gerry Anderson shows?
Yes.
And Keith Gooch remembers seeing a Space 1999 Eagle in several episodes of Futurama. Because I think Matt Groening is something of a fan, isn't he?
He must be, because there's a Thunderbird 2 toy in one thing in The Simpsons as well. So, that's nice to know, isn't it?
Yeah. And also Jay says on Twitter, favourite Gerry Anderson reference outside of the shows would have to be remembering a Top Gear episode segment with Captain Slow, that'll be James May, I think, driving a life-size Fab 1. This included him negotiating the very narrow Nebworth High Street.
Ooh. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we know they're fans, that lot, Clarkson and Co., because they've done quite a few sequences to the Thunderbirds theme or to Thunderbird's launch music. So,
but it's great to see it just pops up everywhere. There's a commercial at the moment for, I think it's for Freeview, with a car driving down a sort of a very long desert road, and by the side of the road there are sort of references to all the various TV shows that are available on Freeview. And of course, right at the very end, what blasts out of the top of a mountainside but Thunderbird 2. Yeah.
Everywhere.
So, yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's amazing. No escaping.
Excuse me, clearing my throat.
You carry on.
Well, Richard, podcast.
That's about it.
Emails
Yeah.
are done. If you want
Yeah.
yours to be read out, then send us an email to podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk. We'll do our best to answer it. And if we can't answer it, we'll ask somebody who can, maybe. And if they can't, then we'll probably not mention it at all.
That's right, exactly. So yeah, do get in touch. Now, regular listeners will know, of course, that we generally have an interview at this point. Last week, it all went a bit pear-shaped, and Jamie managed to cobble together something over the busiest week of his entire life. But this week, we have something rather special, Jamie.
We do, yes. So we did some nice little bits of behind-the-scenes recordings at the Firestorm premiere. So I've got some sections of the panel coming up for you, as well as interviews with some people who worked behind the scenes, the puppeteers, the voice artists. So there's a bit of everything in there. So, yeah,
great.
All sorts of people. Have a listen, and hopefully you enjoy, and you get to know some more of the extended Firestorm family.
How lovely.
For Gerry Anderson's Firestorm, it is the voice of Remus and of the Daleks in Doctor Who. Please welcome to the stage Nicholas Briggs.
Thank you. That ramp was a little longer than I thought it would be. We're already behind, and I've wasted vital time walking up there. Okay, so we're here to talk about Gerry Anderson's Firestorm. Yes. Can I get a 5, 4, 3? Not that one, it's Firestorm.
I'm Jamie Anderson, the producer of Gerry Anderson's Firestorm. I keep saying it's the coolest puppet show you'll ever see, but it's kind of cross between Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet on steroids. So we are at the Excel in London at MCM Comic Con 2018, and today is the first day we've ever put the Firestorm mini-set out in front of the public. So it's our #Firestorm premiere. We had 600 people come and watch it and cheer very loudly, which was lovely, and now it's out in the universe for everyone to see.
Okay, so first of all, let's get on stage 3 vital people to this project. I'm going to say their names very quickly so we don't waste time doing individual applauses. We've got the producer in charge of absolutely everything, Jamie Anderson, in charge of explosions and models and stuff, Mike Tucker, and the director, Steve Begg.
So the whole process has taken just over 4 years from deciding we were going to do it to actually today, to the premiere. We've developed it from the ground up from Dad's original paperwork, but that's involved R&D, developing a new type of puppet, the Ultramarination puppet, writing it, bringing the cast and the crew together, bringing in so many favours to get post-production done. Oh, and running a Kickstarter in the middle of all of that in order to fund it. So it's I'm just wearing endless hats to get this done, from writing it to being on the set where we blew something up, where I was operating lights underneath the set. It's just amazing being able to do a bit of everything, but to finally have it out now after all that time, it's been pretty awesome.
Come on, hurry up. So, Jamie and Steve, I suppose, yes. Could you sort of do a little intro to this project and what it's all about?
We can really try very quickly.
Do it.
So, does anybody actually know what Firestorm is? Do we have any Kickstarter backers in the room? We love you very much. Thank you. So, this actually started for Steve 18 years ago? Yep. You're saying yes?
Yep.
So, a very early set of conversations around 99, maybe, something like that.
That's right, yeah.
And Dad was talking about making a new show called Firestorm. At the time, it was all going to be CGI. It was, boo, says Mike. It was eventually made as an anime series. Steve did all the amazing designs. Go on, Steve, tell them about that stuff. Tell them about all your stuff you've done.
I did some designs for that particular show, as Jamie said, about 18 years ago, and it's really weird for me to see them all realized, very spectacularly, almost 2 decades later. So it's quite a surprise, quite a shock, quite a pleasant shock for me to actually see it all come together this way.
There you go. And we decided to bring back Firestorm, redevelop it from the ground up, from Dad's original ideas, from stuff he put down together in 2001. And we thought, what's the best classical way to do it in a Gerry Anderson style? Well, it's obviously puppets. But these had to be the best puppets you've ever seen. And that was the goal we set ourselves, but to also do it with practical effects, everything as real as possible and as in camera as possible to give it that awesome, tangible feel.
And of course, this minisode that we're going to watch very, very soon in 5, no, forget it. It was only made possible by the support of a lot of Kickstarter people. Would you like to have a word with them? And
yeah, actually, I've already said mention Kickstarters. Kickstarters, will you stand up, please? If you support us on Kickstarter, thank you very much.
Big round of applause.
Let's give them a round of applause, please. And just quickly, also, we've got quite a few members of the crew who are here. If you're in the crew, will you also stand up so they can give you a little cheer? Come on, Spy, and that's you too as well.
Yes,
I've got a few crew members around. Thank you, everybody. So a lot of people have been involved, working very hard on this for a very long time, and we're very grateful.
So, Mike Tucker, in charge of blowing things up on models and stuff. What's your official title?
I'm the miniature effects supervisor.
I think that's what I said.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a little tiny Mike Tucker.
So my name's Mike Tucker, and I'm the miniature effects supervisor. So that was involved with the construction of some of the miniatures for filming, and then being on set to arrange setting those up, filming them, and blowing them up. One of the things we decided to do on the minisode, something I suggested to Jamie and he was quite amenable to, was to get everyone into what I said was a Gerry Anderson frame of mind. We should start with one of the big explosions rather than ending. So the way we set that up is that we rigged and shot all the establishing shots of the Black Orchid base, the island miniature, in the first couple of days. And then as soon as we knew we had all those, we rigged and blew that to pieces. So everyone on the shoot in the first 2 or 3 days had a nice big pyro event to get sort of hyped up over before we went into the slightly more mundane shots. And it worked. It got everyone sort of on board, and it was a nice thing to do. And we got some really good footage out of it. Really pleased with the way it looked, and I think it set the tone for the way we were then going to go on. So that was personally a really nice one to do. We wanted to be proud not just to the Gerry Anderson legacy, but to Derek Meddings, who was Gerry's miniature effects supervisor. And Jamie said, I think my dad and Derek would have been proud of that, so I felt as though job done, was very happy.
When we were invited on board this by Steve and Jamie, one of the big things that we needed to get involved with was the Black Orchid Island. So we're just showing some of the bits and pieces here that were used in its construction. So the Captain America shield and the bits and pieces, it's what they call kit bashing. It's the classic way of doing a Gerry Anderson style show. Lots of kit parts, but also bringing a modern sensibility to it. So we're building the models bigger than perhaps you would think they would be, because we want to get that scale and that detail in. So all these pictures of the island miniature, not just in the workshop, but this was it on stage. And is this the pyro stuff? Yeah.
No, it's just...
This is just setting up. So it's all shot against blue, because Steve, as the visual effects supervisor, is going to add all the backgrounds into these shots afterwards. So it's mixing both sides of the industry. It's both the traditional and the new. Which I think, I mean, Steve, you agree, it's using all the techniques available to us.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a big believer in mixing techniques. I'm a fan of the old tricks and technology and what have you, but I like to bring the new technology, blue screen, green screen, CGI, and augment those practical effects with that technique, so you get the best of both worlds, basically.
From my point of view, I've been brought up, and my entire viewing history and my professional history has been in practical effects. Doctor Who, Red Dwarf. I come from a pre-CG era. So I think we've lived through that period where everyone did everything CG because it was the latest toy and the newest tool, and it was like, it's going to be the future. And I think what people are now going is, yeah, it's an incredibly useful tool in the effects arsenal. It's come a massively long way. But bad CGI is still out there, as well as good CGI. So it's not the be-all and end-all. It's not a fix-all solution. And I think there has been an understanding that something practical sometimes gives you a different, not necessarily better, sometimes better, but definitely different feel to something. And I think the show that in recent years probably did that and made people sit up and take notice was BB-8 in Star Wars Force Awakens. I think everyone assumed, oh, it'll all be CG, but having that little robot on set, seeing how the cast reacted to him, seeing how the puppeteers could make him work in a particular way, I think got people thinking, oh, well, maybe you can start blending the old techniques and the new techniques. Steve Begg is definitely an effects supervisor who likes working that way. The stuff that he's been doing on the Bond is a lovely mix of miniatures and CG, and I think that's what we've been able to do in Firestorm. Jamie's made a quote that I quite like, is if you took the 1968 Thunderbirds team and brought them forward in time, they would use all these new techniques, because they'd go, thank God we've got something to take wires out, or do this, or add backgrounds. And I think that's a good approach to doing it. Let's try and approach it like the Thunderbirds team would have done, but with the access to all these new techniques and materials that we now have. And hopefully you'll get something as a lovely blend of new and old, but still feels like a Gerry Anderson show.
What would you say are the particular challenges and opportunities created by mixing puppetry and miniature effects?
I think the great thing is the fact they look like they coexist in the same world, which I really like. You know, you can tell straight away.
3, 2, 1, bang! That was practical effects there, sorry.
Who's the old guy with the grey hair? Oh, that's me.
And you're very hands-on with it as well. Apparently you were pushing... Oh, is this it?
Yeah, I sort of come from a traditional Gerry Anderson background. Anyway,
pushing the door open.
I started working with Gerry Anderson a long, long time ago. So yeah, I have a practical experience as well. Although I've now segued into CGI effects on the Bonds and things like that.
So how much, when you got involved with a stick, how much was it a temptation all the time when you're sitting back directing, looking at the screens, trying to have the vision of it? Did you have to be restrained from leaping in there?
Yeah, very much. I can't help get my hands dirty. I love jumping in.
Brilliant.
But that's great, because if you've got a director and a producer who are already on board with the way you're going to do it, as opposed to, oh, why are we doing it this way? It makes everybody's job an awful lot easier. Not easy, but easier, because you're not trying to, you're already preaching to the converted.
I think what's fascinating is it feels very much to me like the same reaction that we had to Doctor Who back in 2005 when we brought it back. In that you've got a mix of audiences. You've got an older generation who remember it from when they were kids going, I wonder what this is going to be like. And you have a younger generation who go, this is something new, we haven't seen it before. And what you hope is that you get something that appeals to both those audiences. And I think it did. I think you've got older fans who grew up watching Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet and Joe 90 going, thank God it feels like one of the old Super Marionation shows, but with more punch. And I think you've got kids who've been brought up on a diet of nothing but CG cartoons who go, wow, I've never seen anything like this. And the fact that we got a question from the audience going, were those explosions CGI or real? I think there's a bunch of people going, I don't know what I'm looking at anymore, or I'm looking at something new, and they're responding really well to it. So from my point of view, fantastic, as you say. It was to look out at a sea of faces, to look at everyone getting excited to see a new puppet series from Gerry Anderson across a range of age groups. I think we've nailed it. I think we just need to carry that through into the series, and when we deliver not just a minisode, but a full episode, and then another week, and another week, and another week, seasons worth of this stuff, so it can build and build and build, and I think it's going to work really well. I think it's the right timing for it. I think it's the right look. I think it's not just looking backwards, it's not just trying to homage the past, it's building on the past and doing something different and new.
Now, of course, we're talking about the effects and the way it's made in that sense, but of course, the story is communicated through the characters and the relationship the audience has with them. So let's start talking about that a little bit. And what we want to do now is get on a couple of the actors who are playing the main characters. So first of all, would you please welcome to the stage Naoko Mori. She's making the long journey. There we are. You may recognize her from Torchwood and other brilliant shows. And also Gethin Anthony. Yes. Please do sit down.
Hi, guys.
Hello. My name is Gethin and I voice Sam Scott, who's a character in the new upcoming series Firestorm. The wonderful thing about animation is it takes years to make. So I got involved, I think maybe 4 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when Gerry Anderson, who's the sort of impresario behind Firestorm, got in touch and said, would I be interested in voicing a character on this upcoming show, and he said it was based on his father Gerry Anderson's work, and I immediately was it was like I got all the Christmas presents in one. I loved Thunderbirds growing up, so I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then there was a huge gap until they had some stuff for me to work with, and then I went into a voice studio in Los Angeles, and Jamie flew over, and we, because I was based out there at the time, and we went through the process of voicing in animation, which is really, really fun. If anyone remembers that film, Mrs. Doubtfire, I think Robin Williams' character in that's what he does as a profession, is he like voices cartoons. And it is really fun. You're in the studio and you have visuals to work off, so you can see what it is you're giving voice to. And you just try and imagine your way into being an action hero in this wonderful world that Jamie's come up with and everybody behind the series has come up with. So I'm so excited today. I feel like I'm 8 years old again, because we just got to see we just premiered the minisode and got to see it up there on a big screen, and it's just really fun.
Can you tell us, just for a moment, tell us a little bit about your characters that you play, the voices of?
Well, I play Nagisa. And she's kind of kick-ass. You'll have to excuse me, I'm on a lot of painkillers for I just had a root canal, so I might not make a lot of sense, so you'll have to bear with me. But
You'll fit right in here.
I feel very sort of in outer space. Yes, so I play Nagisa, who is absolutely kick-ass and cool. And you play...
Sam Scott, who's he's just... I love the thing about Sam is he's this fantastic American adventure-y type guy, and I sort of get the feeling he might not always get things right, basically. But he's very confident.
But he's very hot.
He's very, very confident.
Great jawline.
Great jawline. He's just he's game for anything, and he believes he's going to get it right. We'll see if he always gets things right.
Now,
it's just really fun.
You encountered your physical presence as a puppet, but both of you did earlier today. Was that the first time you'd both seen them?
So cool. It's so weird, though. It's amazing, the technology and the great job they've done. And by the way, thank you so much for all of you with the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, thank you so very much.
We wouldn't be here without you guys, so round of applause to you guys again.
Yes. From Jamie, who's just slapping his legs strangely. I don't know. It's like a visual effect.
I tried.
I mean, it's been really exciting. It's great to launch new shows like this, because you get to be in a room with hundreds of people and a big screen, and you get to show them like a teaser of what the show's going to be. And yeah, we really get to feed off of that positive reaction. People seem to love it. It was really great to introduce one of the ultra marionettes, I suppose you'd call them, although technically I think that might not be technically the right term, but it's a rod puppet. I think I learned that today. But to introduce Sam Scott, my character, in sort of real life to the audience and see their sort of glee. Anderson fans are hardcore and they have their strong opinions, but I think the designs have gone down really, really well. I mean, I think that the puppets are just stunning. The articulation they can do now with their mouths to make different sort of vowel sounds with the mouth and stuff like that is incredible. And yeah, it's really wonderful to sit and watch a show like that with an audience and kind of feel the energy. It was it was just thrilling, really, and super fun, because my part in it, being a voice actor, I didn't get to see all of the sets or the team that worked, but who created the puppets, or the writers even. You're all sort of in your separate departments, if you like. So I got to see some of that behind-the-scenes stuff for the first time as well, and hear that we are officially in pre-production and looking to go to production in 2019. I learned that today as well, so I'm just very happy.
Now, we're talking about the puppets, so why don't we introduce you to a puppet? Yeah, let's. As the puppetry team there, would you like to come on? Long pause.
They're hovering.
Are you hovering? I can see feet moving in the darkness. Here we go.
This is literally going to tip me over the edge of this weird thing I'm going through.
Here's Sam Scott.
So cool.
Yeah.
Good jawline.
Now, this is the puppetry team. It's Andrew, Tony, Mikey, Lisa, and Tim. And, of course, Sam Scott there.
I'm Andrew James Spooner. I was and am puppet coordinator on Gerry Anderson's Firestorm. Jamie brought me on to help shoot the pilot, to basically help him put a puppet team together and bring these characters to life. Jamie brought me on board, and the first thing that I discovered was that they're essentially what we call bunraku puppets. Bunraku is a tabletop puppetry. In other words, they're rod puppets, but they're not just rod puppets because they've got these brilliantly articulated animatronic faces. So you've got a lot more range of movement with this kind of puppet that you would with the supermarionation marionettes. We can do, as you've probably already seen in the pilot, we can do running shots, walking shots, jumping shots, all kinds of things. So really, when he brought me on board, it was about finding the best team to put together. And all the puppeteers that we used on this, I'd worked with before on a show called Newsoids for ITV, which is essentially a similar kind of technique, lots of rods. And it's been a fantastic process. The thing about any kind of puppet is that any kind of puppet, from the kind of puppets you get in the Muppets, to rod puppets, to marionette, all have their benefits and their drawbacks. The trick is to work within those benefits. I mean, the great thing about these puppets is that we can do things like running shots and walking shots. But it's a process of learning. When we were doing the pilot, I didn't really want to spend a lot of time just with the puppets up on a table rehearsing. It was more important to get down onto the set and actually start figuring out problems, because there were certain times when they would ask for something like, we want Sam to back up against the wall and hide from a gun blast, and I'm like, we can't do that, he's got ruds coming out of his back. So, but we can do something similar. So it's a process when you're using puppets of any kind when you're shooting a show, is just serious problem solving.
Sorry about my hair. I've
Look at that
been in a box
jawline,
for
ladies
2
and
years.
gentlemen. Look at him. He's so sexy.
Sam, did you not have any hair gel? I saw some hair gel earlier. Obviously, that's an alien thing to me, but...
well, you try making your hair look good when you've been in a box for 5 months.
No, fair enough.
Quite frankly, it's a nightmare.
So we've got Andrew James Spooner over there, who is operating... You're operating the mouth there,
Tony,
were you?
I need my other puppeteer, Tony. He's going to take over. Hello, sorry.
Yeah,
hello.
you're operating the mouth there.
Yes.
Is that... are you doing mouth, eyes?
What we've got is we've obviously got an articulated mouth. We've got a blink on the eyes. We've also got left and right. Tony's coming. We've also got eyebrows that go up and down. And if we go through the motion on the mouth, we've also got, there's a bit of an underbite and an overbite. So we can start making
good, isn't it?
We can start making certain vowel sounds, P's and things like that.
You probably can't see that out there, but the articulation of the jaw, so his lip literally went that way and that way. That way and in and out.
He can sort of make an ooh sound. I mean, McKinnon and Saunders did a fantastic job on these guys.
This is all getting a bit weird, isn't it? Let's face it. I don't know what's quite going on.
He just winked at me.
But yeah, I mean, they're capable of the most amazing range of emotion, which hopefully people are about to see.
And how much would you say, because I can see all that interaction going on there, you're kind of all actors in a way, aren't you? You're performing, you're not just operating an object.
Puppeteers, we're a fairly odd bunch. We tend to come from a whole range of different disciplines, movement, dance. I came to it through acting. I mean, the big thing with a character like this is that you've essentially got 3 puppeteers on the body, and you've got Tony over here who's operating all the facial animation, and it's about taking all of these people and converging it on the puppet and making one performance, making it feel like it's a single character. These guys are all brilliant. I've worked with them before on various shows, like the Furchester Hotel and Newsoids, so we've all kind of got a psychic shorthand. We can all kind of read each other's minds. But yeah, it's about bringing it all together in one performance.
Now, we've all heard of supermarionation for all the classic Gerry Anderson shows, and we're calling this technique ultramarionation.
Yes.
Can you just point out the obvious differences between the two techniques?
Okay, first, obvious difference number 1, no strings. Okay, so we can walk through doors and things like that. The obvious difference is it's not a marionette. It's essentially a rod puppet, which in theatre is called bunraku. And the difference being now that because of all the modern technology and the mix of techniques that Steve was talking about, when we're shooting on a set, we can dress our puppeteers up in green, and then we can effectively remove them from the shot. So we can do walking shots, running shots, jumping shots, all the stuff essentially that I think Gerry really wanted to do initially, but was kind of limited, unfortunately, because of the marionette technique. We can do all of that now because of computers and things.
Yeah, so marrying the green screen thing with the puppets.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's a marriage of modern computer technology and puppetry, and it's fantastic to be able to show people what we can do now.
Okay, well, look, the episode will be coming up any minute now. I just wonder whether we could all just take it in turns to say a few words for things that we'd like people to look out for in the episode, or things that you particularly enjoy doing. Since I'm talking to you, Andrew,
Okay.
what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's kind of a general thing. I think I mentioned it on the podcast last week, is that how fast-paced the pilot is. It's not all locked off camera angles. It's really quick, and it's like watching a little mini action movie. And when you're shooting with these puppets and you're only shooting maybe 3 or 4 minutes a day, it can kind of feel a little bit stilted. But then when you see it edited all together with the music and the final special effects, I think it's amazing.
Brilliant. Gethin.
Yeah.
Can you...
I don't know what's going on in my head.
Are you being
I
kicked in
hope
the
this
face?
is all
Yeah.
age appropriate. If as you know, as I'm a voice in it. If you can try and listen out for that, how much fun I'm having, because this is I feel I've regressed to being 8 years old, and this is the most amazing project I've ever been involved with. I can't wait to show it to all of the, my mates' kids and stuff. It's so much fun. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. But clearly in my voice, you probably tell I'm having the time of my life working on this.
Are you still talking? I stopped listening about half an hour ago.
Naoko, anything that you remember from making it? Blowing into a bottle. I remember that we did the ADR session together, didn't we?
Yes. You know, I do a lot of voice stuff, for video games, and of course the Torchwood Big Finish stuff. But this is completely on a different level. What's great is you have the visuals and the details and the storyline. And it's weird, as an actor, you kind of really get into it a lot. And it's almost as if it's, it is kind of you, but it's not, but it is.
Beg your pardon?
If that makes sense.
Are you saying I'm not real?
Honestly, you are so
I want to be a real boy.
You are real.
Okay.
Is his nose growing?
They're real.
It's okay, buddy.
They're
Thank
not
you, Nat.
puppets, they're
Steve,
real.
anything that you want to point out particularly about the episode?
What I'm looking forward to doing with the series is bringing the work of Century 21, which was the company that made Thunderbirds, Captain Scarlet, Joe 90, all the shows that inspired us and have led to this, into the 21st century with new tricks and new technologies.
Brilliant. Mike.
I guess I've been waiting for a show like this to drop into my lap ever since I was about 6 years old, watching things like Thunderbirds. So a little like everyone else, I had so much fun on the pilot. And if we can just have half as much fun turning this into a series, both in terms of making it and for you watching it, I will be a very, very happy person.
Oh, that's lovely. And just before you, Jamie, I suppose I should say, since I was the voice of Remus, the artificial intelligence in it, just wanted to put on record that Steve thought my performance was too camp. But so I did a less camp one, but it just didn't work as well as the camp voice, did it? We liked the camp computer. It's not that camp. Well, answers on a postcard. Jamie, I've been fired. You just saw it then, when he went like that with his head. Jamie, what are your thoughts?
Oh, well, look, for me, this is a culmination of 4 years' work. It's been a long time coming. It's been very hard. We've made it with endless restrictions in terms of budget, people's time. People have done us huge amounts of favors. People like Mike and Steve and Co. and the puppeteers, everybody who's sort of taken little gaps in work, in paid work, to come and do this for either nothing or virtually nothing. you'll see when the credits play out that there are so many people who've been part of this. It's just a very proud moment for me to be able to show it to the world. So thank you all for coming. And I also think that everybody has done Dad proud.
That's lovely.
So it's very difficult trying to be objective about something which you've seen 73,000 times, and I really have seen the minisode endlessly. So now all I can really see are its flaws and things that I'd want to do differently if we could. So coming in, obviously I'm coming at it thinking, oh, there's all these things I don't like. Other people are going to see them and not like them, and they're not going to be as excited by it because I'm just so used to it. So actually coming in and seeing the anticipation on people's faces and seeing them kind of sitting up and wanting to see it, and then the amount of excitement once they did see it and the applause and stuff was brilliant. It's so reassuring when you've poured so much into something creative to actually put it in front of people and then they say, yes, we like it too. It's not just you being weird and crazy and loving it because you're an oddball that likes puppets. You know, real humans like it as well.
Well, I must say I enjoyed that. I'm glad you did too. Listen, what we need you to do is to go on Twitter and Facebook, yes, please, and point people to firestormhq.com and also use the hashtag Firestorm Premiere with an E on the end, okay? So I don't mind if you start doing that now. That's fine by me.
Hello, I'm Nick Briggs, and I play the voice of Remus, the AI in Gerry Anderson's Firestorm. Well, I was working with Jamie Anderson on some Big Finish stuff. We were just evolving the idea of having Terrorhawks as audio drama for Big Finish Productions. And so Jamie and I were having very preliminary meetings about that, actually over lunch, I think. And I was talking to him about the various things he was hoping to do. And he talked a lot about Firestorm. And I said, oh gosh, I love all your dad's stuff. Is there any way I could be involved in it? Do you think that that I could fit into my schedule somewhere? And he said, well, you could be the voice of the computer if you want to. And I went, well, God, yeah, I'd love to do that. And he said, yeah, well, that'd probably be all right. And that's how that worked out, really. I mean, we've also been talking about me writing at least one script when it goes to series. So I'm really looking forward to that too. Well, Steve was very funny in the voice recording thing because, Steve's vastly experienced in his field and has done an amazing job on it. But I don't think he'd ever directed a voice session. So first of all, it's quite funny the way he had all the actors assembled in their various booths. And then he had a bit of a dilemma of knowing how to get us to start acting. I remember him being in the booth and going, in the control room, going, well, yeah, action, something, go, start, go. So he started, and I was doing all this, go ahead, Commander. And he said, yeah, can you be, let's camp. And Jamie was listening in from LA. He was over there having a meeting or something. So he was under a duvet in LA, laughing his head off at this. And I said, was it that camp? I didn't think it was that camp. And he said, yeah, just do it, yeah. So I just did it really, really flat. I just wanted it to have a bit of personality, really. But interestingly, during the editing stage, the sound editor was just left to choose the takes. He chose all the camp ones. So what you're hearing is it's not camp. It's not camp, is it? It's Remus with a little bit more sort of user-friendly personality. I think I do have a tendency to colour stuff more than some directors might like, because I think here I am here with my voice. I might as well do something with it rather than just talk on one level like that. And I think Steve was, I think it sounded like too much to him, just dry there. But I think when you've got a lot of noise going on and a lot of music going on, you probably need something a little bit more emphatic to sort of punch through all that. That's my excuse for overacting. Well, when we knew that it was all going to happen at Comic Con, Jamie, knowing that I had a sort of a background of doing interviews and stuff and doing podcasts, I mean, I sort of cut my teeth on doing Doctor Who conventions over the years, comparing. He asked me to do that, which was great. I haven't done that sort of stuff for ages, but really happy to come and do it for Jamie. I think we're all happy to come and do stuff for Jamie. He's brilliant. His dad was brilliant. So we sorted out exactly what we were doing. He sent me a beautiful file with all the details there, so I was there with my iPad Pro, and so it went nice and smoothly, got everyone up on stage, and the sense of anticipation was tangible, really, in the audience. I suddenly realised as I started to intro the whole thing that I thought, a Comic-Con audience, it might just be a bunch of people who've just wandered by and thought, what's going on here? But there was a real, as I started to speak, I thought, oh my goodness, they're all really waiting for this. It went down really well. It was lovely I made sure, while the episode was showing, I went near the back of the auditorium, so I got that sort of audience experience. And it was really amazing. And huge round of applause, which unfortunately we had to sort of cut short in order to give people more information and get a Q&A going. But I think the applause would have gone on for a lot longer. It was lovely. I mean, nothing can beat that when you have that interaction between, the piece of creative stuff that you've made or helped to make, be participating, making, and suddenly there's a live audience there making a noise to let you know they really like it. You can't really beat that.
What a lovely bunch.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah.
Well, I hope
really
that's given
good.
you a bit of an insight. I think it's really important through this process that, if you want to meet the people who are working on it behind the scenes, we're going to run a very open production. You're going to, get to know these people. And I think that's really important because there's so much handcrafted love and attention that goes into this. It's kind of nice to know the people and the personalities that are attached to that. And especially because a lot of the guys who work on the crew and stuff generally don't get recognised and, never get called out for all the fantastic work they do. Oh, would you believe it?
Do you want to get that?
My phone going. Yeah, hang on. Hello? I'm alright. I'm just recording the podcast with Richard. Can I call you back in about 7 or 8 minutes? Thank you very much. Bye.
PPI.
Parental
pestering
interferer. Mother. Yeah. No, that's not. Yes, it was my mother. Anyway, she says hello.
That's sweet.
Let's carry on.
Well, I was about to say, the thing about the whole Firestorm thing is the emotional investment that people have, not just those that, heard about it in time to contribute to the Kickstarter campaign, but just the people who have come on board since and are really loving every tidbit of news that you're able to throw their way, and they're devouring the sort of behind-the-scenes videos and so on, and of course, poring over the minisode itself. It's amazing, isn't it?
It's
do
wonderful.
Feel emotionally involved with the whole process, which is lovely.
But the world has changed, and so that people want to see more of what's going on. They want to understand it more, and I absolutely applaud that. I want that to happen. So there we go.
Absolutely, that's very good. So in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review, and share us on whatever platform you're listening to. Jamie often asks also if you just take a little a selfie of yourself listening to the podcast, so we can see where you are. For example, Hayden Gribble got in touch on Twitter saying, "Here's one for your selfies. I'm listening with a heavy cold with my head over an inhalation bowl." And there was a photograph to prove it.
A lovely phlegm selfie. That's what we want.
Exactly.
Hayden, get well soon. Sorry you're poorly. It's obviously going around at the moment.
Yes,
and also do send us a recording of yourself humming along to the Firestorm theme wherever you may be doing that. If you're on the train, in the supermarket, on the loo, wherever you're doing it.
Acoustics will be brilliant.
It'd be amazing because it'd be like my Mistron thing in the bathroom. I would definitely love to hear people humming along. That would be great because it is extremely hummable.
Yeah, and something we haven't heard for a while is some audio questions and comments from people. So do send them into podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk if you have questions or anything you'd like to say. Just record it on your phone and send it to us, and we'll play it out.
Hey Richard, by the way, I forgot to say, do you remember Ben Page who emailed in?
Yes.
And sent his voice clip. Ben flew over from the US for the Firestorm premiere.
Ah, amazing.
Isn't that amazing? And also one of our other contributors, more so to Fab Live, Rick Van Krieken.
Oh, yes.
I think that's how you say it. Sorry, Rick, if I've done that really wrong. He came over as well from Holland. Isn't that amazing?
Gosh.
So it was brilliant to see these guys. So, gents, thank you very much for coming over. I hope you had a fantastic time.
Yeah, lovely.
Anyway, look, I'm rambling on, and we need to be randoming
on, I think, yes.
Yes. That would be great. So, what's happening now, Richard?
Well, this must be Chris Dale and his amazing, splendiferous randomizer.
Yes. Oh, in fact, Chris was mobbed at the Firestorm premiere for his randomizer contributions because so many
course,
people there
I'm
listen
sure he
to the
was.
podcast and love the randomizer. Anyway,
Yeah, quite
so
right
for those
too.
who are just waiting for that and have had to sit through all this nonsense so far, let's hand over to Chris.
Here he is.
General Kwan? Yes? Yes. Well, if you've searched the south side, search the north. There is an agent somewhere near this base, and I want him found. Now.
Oh, General Kwan, I've already told you, it's only Marina. She's no spy, I promise you, she's my friend.
Yes, of course. How old are you, little boy?
33.
Are you English?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
And what are you doing here?
Well, the same reason Marina and I go everywhere, really, to ask people to press the big red button on the randomizer. We really didn't mean to land in your base. Unfortunately, our Eagle crashed somewhere out in the jungle, but luckily we were both able to eject just in time.
And I suppose you arrived in that canister my men found.
The escape canister, yes. Yes, there was just enough room inside mine for me and the randomizer. I just wish I knew where Marina's had landed. I hope she's okay.
We shall find your colleague, and now I will ask a guard to lock you in a room.
Of course, but before you ask a guard to lock me in a room, could I persuade you to perhaps press the button on the randomizer for me? It would give me something to watch while I'm locked in a room.
Oh, yes. This is a brilliant achievement. I congratulate you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you approve. I only hope we land on something that's a bit different this week, because we've been having a run of fairly similar shows lately. So let's see what we've got today. It's... Oh, read that.
Are you absolutely certain?
Yes, I'm afraid. It's another episode of Joe 90.
A Western, little boy.
Yes. And even I might be getting a bit weary of this by now, were it not for the fact that this is actually one of my favourite episodes. Here's Double Agent. Well, if you didn't already know that it was Joe's 50th this year, he's certainly making his presence known on the randomizer, isn't he? And again, this is not planned. It's just the way it goes. I have actually gone back and checked, though. I did put all of the episodes of Thunderbirds and of UFO and of everything else in there. This is purely, genuinely random. That with this episode, we are now 5 episodes down on Joe 90 out of 30. It's a whole 6th of the series when we haven't even seen some of the other shows yet. Anyway.
Right.
We'll talk about this episode. This episode is perhaps the most realistic that the whole spy organisation side of this show got, and that's demonstrated quite well in this opening. I think it's extremely dark, where we have this Win agent being trailed by these 2 baddies, and this lovely shot here, which can't have been easy to do, of the 2 cars drawing level with each other, not just on the models stage, but on the puppet stage. We have a puppet in each car, looking... Oh, I'm just... Sorry, I was distracted for a moment there. I was looking for a hole on the roof where for the strings, and there isn't one. So again, these are under control puppets, and I didn't know that. I assumed that under control puppets were only made for the main characters and regular characters, like, you know, the angels in the cockpit of their fighters. But this Win agent and the baddies both seemed to be stringless puppets, unless I've got that wrong. No, there's definitely a ceiling on those cars for no strings to come through. It's interesting.
A14, come in, please. Receiving me.
And another good example of how cheap life is in this show, as this Win agent is dead, bleeding from his head and his wrist, and unfortunately for the bad guys, the Win agent is not the only one who has died. They've snatched his case.
It is
However,
still locked. Very careless.
I love that. I love how brutal that is. It's like there's not even any build up to that. It's just, you're dead, blown to bits. Now, going back to how many Joe 90 episodes we've covered on the randomizer, To quote Dr. Tiger Einstein, I have a theory. And my theory is that we're only getting so many Joe 90 episodes because people keep slagging him off. In previous podcasts, and in the comments left on those podcasts and on the Fab Live show, people are saying, oh, burn Joe 90. Well, I suspect Joe 90 is rather like, what was it, the Candyman? What's that horror character where you look in the mirror, say his name 3 times at midnight or whatever, and then he appears? I think that's what Joe 90 is doing on the randomizer. You know, Jamie offered Chris Packham the chance to destroy one of the shows. He chose Joe 90, and the randomizer is responding by giving him as much Joe 90 as he can handle. That's my theory. And what it is too.
Look, I've been in the special courier section for 18 years, head of it for the past 7. And if you're saying that one of my boys is a traitor, you can have my resignation right now. No one's calling for resignation.
So here we have something that's always very obvious in both Gerry Anderson shows and other shows of this era.
Been lost. I can't believe anyone in my department is a double agent.
We bring in a new character for this one episode who evidently is extremely important to the organisation.
I'm taking it myself. Think again. The mission's off. But Chief...
And of course he turns out to be a traitor. I don't think I'm spoiling anything here by saying that this guy is a traitor. And what's also interesting about this episode is that it marks the return to Joe 90 of Jeremy Wilkin. Jeremy Wilkin had been...
Boy, Professor?
Yes,
Oh.
I'm sure you're right, Mrs. Harris.
Right. Okay, I'll hold off on that for a moment. As with Arctic Adventure, the scene with Mrs. Harris in Arctic Adventure, Mac is once again reading the newspaper, Astronaut News, Red Arrow Flight Tragedy, Colonel Casey to be replaced. And what's interesting is, aside from the fact that in the Joe 90 universe this disaster has happened twice in a row, the way he's holding the paper makes it obvious that
I'll have a word with Joe and Mrs. Harris.
Yes, well...
there are 2 copies of that cover. You can see page 3 instead of a, I don't know, some beautiful puppet lady, as you might possibly... oh no, not of the Astronaut News. That wouldn't be in there. Regardless, page 3 of this newspaper is the same as page 1 of this newspaper.
Joe, you haven't added clairvoyancy to your other talent.
Anyway, going back to Jeremy Wilkin, he had... obviously, he was voice of Virgil Tracy on Thunderbirds, Captain Ochre in Captain Scarlet. He disappeared a few episodes before the end of Captain Scarlet. He did 2 early episodes of Joe 90, being Operation McLean and International Concerto, which were episodes 4 and 5. And then he disappeared again until episode 13. I don't know what he was working on that kept him away for a while.
Patterns were recorded while he was in my office, but his cover might be broken.
And also, this was the point when Martin King left the show.
We'll soon be there. Smell that sea air. Yes, reminds me of home. But I thought you were brought up in the mountains, Chief. That's right, in the Sierra Nevadas. Sierra. You get it? Oh, yes, Chief. Very sharp.
Again, I've said it before, I love Shane Weston. I think in the hands of a lesser actor than David Healy, this could have become extremely annoying, the bad sense of humour, and I just have a feeling he was that way in real life, even though I never met the man. I just get the impression this was probably right up his alley. He probably thought these were very entertaining jokes in their own right anyway.
Now, Joe, listen carefully. This is the new type dispatch case adapted by the lab boys. It contains a trigger mechanism and enough plastic explosive to blow this whole place to pieces.
Speaking of enough explosive to blow the whole place to pieces, Joe seems extremely happy. He's wearing a smiling face at the thought of explosives. But I'm looking at this shot. Why is there a sofa in the lab? I know they need it for scenes like this, but why is it positioned in such a way that people are able to watch Joe as he's having his brain patterns put in? It's quite odd.
Good luck, Joe. Bon voyage.
And there is London Airport, as seen in Thunderbirds. No sign of the fire flash, but it's unmistakably Thunderbirds stock footage. And what makes it stand out all the more is it doesn't fit with the rest of the airport that we saw just there.
But he was supposed to take a flight direct to Tehran.
Well, that's what I thought. I assumed he had instructions to go by another route in case he was being followed.
What instructions? You were at the briefing. Who mentioned Paris?
Now, let's not panic. There's probably a simple explanation. Get me World Intelligence, Paris.
So Joe has now gone rogue. Oh, Paris Airport looks suspiciously like... Hang on. Okay, Paris Airport seems to be comprised entirely of shots from previous episodes. The plane that you just heard take off there with Joe aboard, and Symphony Angel sat behind him, in fact, that's from Splashdown. But the airport was Slayton Air Base from Treble Cross with a loudspeaker from Winged Assassin, both from Captain Scarlet. And I suppose it made sense at this point. They had enough old material that they could draw on to create an airport that didn't exist there. It was quite interesting.
But with your son carrying that case, the situation is explosive. Literally explosive.
Maybe it's a bad idea, firstly, to put explosives into these cases, and secondly, to give it to a 9-year-old boy. I mean, I get that the whole idea is that nobody would ever suspect him. However, there have got to be limits to what you can trust him with. Not that I'm casting any aspersions on Joe's integrity or anything.
Look, Mac, understandably, you were always against Joe working for World Intelligence.
What are you driving at?
I really like these scenes of Mac and Sam and Shane arguing.
So that's what you've been thinking. Well, I've had my own thoughts on the subject.
About where Joe has gone. Firstly, because it gives Rupert Davies and Keith Alexander and Shane... I nearly said Shane Rimmer. It's not Shane Rimmer, it's David Healy playing Shane Weston.
Invent an apparently straightforward...
The chance to really show off their acting chops.
A dispatch case to the east.
Which in a kids' show you wouldn't necessarily expect for them to get.
Divert Joe at the last moment.
But also it kind of harkens back to...
Are you accusing us of sending Joe on a highly dangerous assignment without your permission?
The thought had crossed my mind.
To the central conflict that was never really an integral part of this show, but it is one of those things that occurs to you in hindsight.
Sure that they don't fall into enemy hands.
How willing Mac was to let Joe join up. He basically said, don't come crying to me if you get hurt. That's the level of concern that he's expressing for his son. And it's nice to see that although he genuinely does care, there is that element of conflict between the three main characters.
It's a red priority order to all WIN agents. Shoot target on sight.
Are you trying to tell me that Joe is the target?
Those ciphers must not fall into enemy hands. The target is Joe 90.
I love that. I love that potential child murder is now another horrifying aspect that we need to add to all the other horrifying aspects of this show. And the fact that if this story had gone off in a different direction, if any of the WIN agents in Copenhagen had managed to track Joe down, they would have had to have killed him. 9-year-old boy, child murdering. This is so messed up. Oh, it's beautiful. It's sick, but it's beautiful. I love it. Anyway, Joe has now made his way to Copenhagen.
You've got to get that C-48 cancelled.
You heard me speak to Washington, Mac. There's nothing I can do.
Well, get them on the line again. I'll speak to them.
I'd like to have heard that conversation. Yeah, you mustn't kill my son because it's not his fault. I did experiments on his brain. That's why he's behaving like this. It's fine, really. Oh. Anyway, Joe has now delivered the dispatch case to Dr. Newman in Copenhagen.
All right. Take the seahorse.
We're not supposed to know who's on the other end of that line, but it's pretty obvious. And I'm remembering, for some reason, and I'm not sure why I remember, this scene with Joe and Dr. Newman in the office together appeared on Telly Addicts, which, if you don't know, was an early 1990s BBC TV-related quiz show. Not sure why that scene was chosen, but never mind.
Sam, we've got to do something.
Of course we've got to do something. The question is what?
Panic!
Look, let's go over this again.
Oh, okay, rehash the already established details. Well, we've got time.
Send out an all-stations alert for Harry Sloan. Contact me the moment.
This is almost, and I realise I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers by saying this. This is almost basically a grown-up show at this point. Joe is, although he's in it, although he's technically the star of the show, he himself hasn't really done or said much in this episode. But the scenes in Shane's office, it feels extremely grown up. And what other kids shows can you think of would include discussions about murdering a child? It's all very strange.
You were right about Sloan, Professor. He requisitioned a helijet. A radar fix puts him 5 miles offshore, heading out into the English Channel.
Oh, and he was so trustworthy. We've known him for so many minutes of this episode. How could he have betrayed us? Yeah, it never works when you try to pull that trick.
I think we'll take a few shortcuts.
Yeah, this is cool. This is very cool. I'm not a huge fan of the jet air car, but I do like seeing it flying about the place. Especially going over the sea here after the seahorse that's being flown by the Captain Brown puppet. Even though it appears they've taken a detour through the desert. I'm sure that's meant to be the beach or something, but it looks like a desert from a later episode. However, Shane Weston is...
You, all right back there, Chief?
Yeah, I guess I'm fine.
I like the way that Shane Weston gets airsick in the same way that David Healy characters in Captain Scarlet would say that they were all right when they were in fact Mysterons. It was delivered in exactly the same tone of voice that. Yeah, I love seeing the jet air car skimming across the surface of the water, just lightly touching the waves. There's also really nice... I really like this helijet model, the Seahorse. I'm not sure what it is about it, but it might be the fact that it has an angry face. That certainly makes it rather endearing. And here's there was a shot just then of Mac and Sam in the jet air car, and they weren't saying anything to each other. It was just holding on a very slow zoom of Mac's face, and Sam was looking at him, and you can see through the expressions on the puppets' faces, and knowing how strong the performances of those characters are. Oh, Joe's just been smacked in the face and lost his glasses. But it almost doesn't need any dialogue. We know these characters so well. And now Joe is being shot at. He has not got his glasses on, so he's gonna have a go. He's gonna shoot back anyway. I'm not sure if this show could get any darker with the good guys being told they have to murder the child, and now the baddies are trying to murder the child, and said child has just had the gun shot out of his hand. I hope they're not going to show blood or anything. Oh, the Joe puppet looks very defeated. Nevertheless, the bad guys have now got the cipher case, making their escape. And I love that shot of the helijet pulling away. From underneath, it looks so good. And the cockpit is a really nice set as well. I just love this vehicle. I wish I could have a toy of it. Please make a toy of it, somebody.
Well, they went to a lot of trouble to get the dispatch case. All in vain. Detonating now.
I can't believe Sam Loover just has a button to kill the bad guys by remote control. That's so ghoulish.
Control destruct system, Sam. You could have exploded that case at any time.
That's right, Mac. But despite what you may think, we consider Joe to be our most special agent.
I second that.
And rather than attempt to track down the real masterminds behind this courier smashing operation, we instead murdered Harry Sloan, the one guy who could have told us everything we needed to know, presumably. However, Harry Sloan is dead. He will not be mourned. However, we have also reached the end of Double Agent. And I really like that one. It's something a bit different. Who wrote this? Tony Barwick, of course. If it's different, it comes from Tony Barwick. And it's another really good example of the dark extremes that this show would go to, especially with orders to kill Joe. And it's like, good grief. How much more do you want to... Oh, it's perfect. I love it. Every time you think this show has gone as dark and unexpectedly twisted as you think it can go, it's just like, oh no, we can get even darker. It's beautiful. And some really nice acting work, as always, from Rupert Davies, Keith Alexander, and David Healy. It almost makes me wish that there was it almost makes me wish that there was a proper Gerry Anderson spy series, but there is a proper Gerry Anderson spy series. This is that series. It's absolutely wonderful. But maybe we could do without some Joe for a while, okay?
Well, more Joe 90.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Come on, a little more enthusiasm, Jamie.
Sorry. More Joe 90.
That's better.
Thanks, Randomizer. Thanks, Chris.
I suppose the good thing is, getting all these Joe 90s out the way early means that, we have good stuff later on in the year.
Yeah, it's like ripping off a plaster. Or what's that motivational book called? Eat That Frog.
I don't know that.
You're supposed to do the most horrible thing first to get it out of the way, and then everything is amazing after that. No offence, Joe. No, look, to be fair, I thought that double agent story is fantastic.
Yeah.
In terms of exploring the idea of the big rat.
Yes.
It's really cool that you put something in you think that will help, and actually it hinders him, and unfortunately Joe made it out alive at the end. No,
Jamie.
No, I'm only joking.
Now, there's a lot of love for Joe 90 out there, as there is for Chris Dale. And actually, I should just mention that Chris will be with us on Fab Live again with his usual monthly Big Rat Bites.
He will. He's just sent it to me, in fact. I haven't downloaded it yet, so who knows what the special thing is.
Yeah,
anyway,
nice.
So Chris, thanks for that. But if you could have a little tweak with the randomizer, maybe employ the services of Dr. Beaker and Brains, maybe Dr. Fawn. I don't know what his expertise are like in electronics, but if we could try and make it a bit more random and a bit less Joe 90, that'd be great. Thanks. Anyway,
fantastic. Well,
that's
more
about
of that next time, but I think that's about it for now. Just remains for us to say, as usual, you know what I'm going to say: rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Yeah, and don't just listen to Richard saying it and nod your head and go, yeah. Actually, do it, please. It really makes a difference, like a huge difference.
Absolutely. And tell all your friends about it. Tell all your friends about Firestorm as well, for goodness sake. So watch it on YouTube if you can. Just copy the URL from the address bar at the top of the page there. Send it in an email to your mates and let them know what's going on, because it'd be great to get as many people as possible to see this. I mean, I know that the numbers are racking up even as we speak, but we don't want anyone to miss out.
Exactly. The more the merrier. Firestormhq.com is the best and easiest way to share it. So head on over, and that's it, really. If you've got anything you want to say, whether it's Firestorm related or not, then send us an email to podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk. And until next time...
Well, that's it then. Bye-bye for now.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Stage 1 complete.
Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
Well,
right, I think that went swimmingly.
Second time lucky, Richard James.
Yeah.
As they
I've got 30 minutes there.
Brilliant. Well,
30 minutes of gold.
Comedy bronze.
Comedy tin.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for coming back and doing that all over again.
No, well, thank you for being there, Jamie.
And also this time, thanks for dressing.
I thought I'd make the effort, yes.
Yeah.
And next time you see me, I'll have shorter hair. I'm going to get my hair cut today.
Oh, well, me too.
Oh, yeah. Are you? It won't take long.
No, it doesn't take long.
Which one are you going to get cut?
Oh, that's the joke they used to say to Dad. You know, Dad
dear.
used to actually go to the barber's to have his hair cut, and he was really insistent that it had to be done in a particular way, even though he only had a sort of 2.25-inch strip of hair all the way around his head.
Yeah, that's right. How
I
strange.
used to find that really bizarre.
That's
Anyway,
funny, isn't it? Anyway,
yes.
we digress.
Yeah, useful tidbit though for any Gerry Anderson podcast listeners who did listen past the end titles.
That's a very small subsection of the people who are listening, I should imagine.
Yes, well, congratulations to the 7 of you who managed that. And now, Richard, let's go away and do some other things.
All right, have a good day.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
Newsy news newsy 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 news newsy 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 news newsy 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 news newsy 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 news news newsy newsy news news newsy newsy news news newsy newsy news 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 newsy newsy news news newsy newsy news 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 newsy news news